Hello everyone, and welcome to this tutorial slash showcase slash showing off of Owlbear Rodeo. It's a website that I've come across in the past and haven't used it quite a lot, but been using it quite frequently recently. It's kind of like a little light, easy to learn, easy to pick up a version of virtual tabletops for your D&D games or whatever you're playing. I thought I'd just go through a little bit of how it works, so that if you want to run a one shot or a mini campaign or anything like that, then you have the tool accessible to you. So if you go to Owlbear Rodeo, you can just type it into Google, or I think it's owlbear.rodeo to get to this page. It is a free service, which is amazing. They've got a Patreon here. If you feel like giving them a little bit of a donation or whatever, I'd highly recommend it, because they are providing great content for us to use. Now, the thing is, I mentioned that Owlbear Rodeo is quite light. You have other versions like Roll20 and Foundry and stuff like that, which integrates modules and dice rolling, and you can get mods and different compendiums and stuff like that for it. Whereas Owlbear Rodeo is very much just your battle maps and tokens. You can't import character sheets or anything like that, but if you're using other things already, if you're using like Zoom or Teams or Discord for your video, if you're using D&D Beyond for your character sheets and stuff like that, then Owlbear Rodeo is great to just throw in for your maps and such like that. So let's jump into it. Down the bottom, they've got a little guide there if you want to go through it as well, but you can either join a game or start a game. Most likely you're just going to be starting a game, and when you start one, you can send the link to other people to join yours. So there's not really much point of clicking join a game. So if we go start a game, it comes up with a password. I don't think there is a big risk of people crashing your games or anything, as they do need the link. But if you are posting it to a community page or whatever like that, then maybe it is a good idea to put a password in. So you can tick on use password, and let's just go put something like that in, and you go start. So this is the page that we met with to start off with. So if we go left to right, there's a lot of buttons. It might look a little bit intimidating, but I can assure you that it is not. Up the top here in the top left, we have our dice tray. Now, there are definitely advantages of using this. If you've got new players or anything like that, then they can they don't have to go out and buy dice. They can just use this little platform here. So just say I wanted to roll a d20. I'll click on that and roll an 8. Not the greatest. You can also throw it around, have a bit of fun with it. And what it does is you can hide your rolls, or you can share them, and it comes up in this little chat up here in the corner. So, if I then roll a d100, it'll show where you've rolled, and you can then rename yourself if all your players are using dice. I prefer to roll real dice. Completely depends what you're doing with your friends, but that option is there if you want it. Coming down here, there are a couple of options we'll come back to later. These are more like settings and stuff. But if you come over to the top right-hand side, we have two columns. We've got basically our map and our tools, and then your tokens, which we'll come to in a second. So the first one here is your maps. Basically, you click this, and you're met with this screen here. And Owlbear Rodeo is great because it has provided a bunch of just generic, straightforward maps. Like, just say you're coming along a forest and you need a encounter, you can just hit the grass one and just start going straight from there if your players throw you a curveball or anything. Got sand, stone, wood, water, so on and so forth. So let's go stone. Basically, they're all 22 by 22. So you can select that and go select, and it will bring up this grid here. So you use your mouse wheel to scroll in and out. You can go right into high detail, or you can come right out depending on how big your map is. Let's recenter that. And basically, there you go. Straight away, you've got a battle map ready to go. Left click will move you around if you need to. And that kind of brings us to the tools. So basically, this first one here is your move tool. you hold and move around. And at any point as well, it's worth noting that right click is your little pointer. So this little red dot here is visible to any and all of your players. So if you want to circle something like, oh, you guys are entering from this corner up here, you can circle it, point anywhere you want. You want this guy to move from here to here, so on and so forth. The next tool down is our lasso tool. Obviously, we don't have any tokens on the map at the moment, but basically you can highlight multiple tokens at once. Then we've got our fog tool, which allows you to create fog of war. The drawing tool, you can see up along the top here, we've got our different shapes. So just say you want a circle radius of fireball, you can throw that in there. A square, maybe for entangle or something, you want it to go 3x3 squares. And even you can make a little cone shape as well. You can change the colors, you can raise them, and you can also change the opacity of them as well. So let's get rid of those. Next, we've got our ruler tool. Obviously, if you're getting right into the nitty-gritty of combats, basically you just click and hold, and it will measure how far things are from each other. So if you want to, you're up in this top corner and you got a 60-foot spell, then you can basically see how far that's going to reach. Then there's the actual pointer tool that makes it left click. So left click and right click work for this one. You may as well save time and just use right click all the time. And then lastly, we've got our notes. So basically you can chuck a note in there, and then you can change the note's color. You can change whether people can see it or not. So you could leave notes for yourself as a DM, and then you can lock it, which means that no one can move it. If you then want to delete it, come back to our hand tool, and we'll just drag it down to the little rubbish bin down the bottom. You got your undo tool and redo. I don't really think you'd be needing to use those a lot. You can just redo it yourself, but if you feel like you want to use those, then they're there. Just in case. So we have our map, and obviously there is nothing on it at the moment. This is what your players will see when they log in, but there are no details. What is a really cool feature with Owlbear Rodeo is the tokens. So if you look along here, they've basically got a token for every class in the game, including Blood Hunter and Artificer. So if you have let's say we've got a Bard character, we've got a fighter, let's throw in a spellcaster, so we've got a sorcerer and a wizard. So these are our four player characters. If we go back to our selecting tool, we can select all of them at once and move them around. But what we can do is if we zoom in, it locks them to the squares, which is nice and easy. And everyone can move these tokens. So they walk into this dungeon, and we've got our four classes. Now, everyone should know what class they're playing, but if you're recording it or streaming it or something, what you can do is you can double-click on a token. You can use these side ones here to change the size of them, and it has the little, how many feet, 15 feet. I think that's a huge creature. You go large, so on and so forth. But what you can do is you can add a label onto them. So the wizard, we might call her Sabine, and we can hide that from the players, or we can make them see it, and we can change what label they are. So it's a character, a prop, a mount, or whatever. So leave it as a character for now. And now you can see that says Sabine on it, and the players will see that as well. If I scroll out a bit, you notice that the words start to get a little bit tiny. What you can do is, what I said we'd come back to later, down in the bottom left corner, is the settings. We can actually text token label size. We can make them 2 times as big. And there you go, it's a little bit bigger there. So if we quickly just name the fighter, we'll just go Roger. We'll name the bard. Let's just name him Bart. And then the sorcerer we will call Harry. Oh, we've created another one there. So here you have your 4 players. Players can use the ruler tool. They can measure from them to each other, so on and so forth. So everyone has access to all these tools as well. If you do want to lock something in place, you can click this lock here, and that means it cannot be moved at all. But what we'll do is we'll unlock that. Along with all the tokens, we have all the classes, and what is really cool, what a really cool feature I've found, is that you have here all the monster types. So you've got beast, you've got undead, you've got dragon, elemental. So no, you don't have specific, a sea hag or a red dragon or so on and so forth. But what you can do is, for ease of whatever you're doing, you've got a fiend one here, and you can say, all right, you guys come across a large fiend. Done. He's on the map, and we can start fighting. We can start playing. You can obviously use your draw tools to create some walls and stuff. So, if we change this color to gray, and we'll just do some straight lines. So I'll say, as you guys walk in, there's a, maybe that's a little bit tiny, but what we can do, we use the square tool, as we can say there's a wall there. We'll turn off the, I think it is blending. There you go. So the blending tool makes it a bit see-through. You can turn that off to make it a bit more solid. So what we'll do is we'll erase these two, and now we'll just create our little room. So we'll go, there's a wall here, there's a little doorway, and then there's a wall here. And then you guys come into this big open space. There is a couple of pillars around, and that's all you have to do. So now you have a battle map, you have everything laid out, ready to go, and everyone can already start planning and moving. And you've got your fiend in here, and if you want to, you can label him Beelzebub, and so on and so forth. So yeah, all of these, you got, maybe he's got some undead minions that come over here. You can just drag them onto the battlefield, and they're ready to go. Again, because this is a stripped back version of a virtual tabletop, there's no initiative counter. You'll have to do that in maybe a notepad or Word or something like that. But you have your basics ready to go. Now, these maps that are provided are very basic. Obviously, they are, if we go over to our sand one, some play around I was doing earlier. If we go over to the grass one, then we've got a massive token that I put on that one. And if we go to the snow one, then it is just blank. We might be asking, well, I've got some maps that are provided in my PDF that I've downloaded, or I'm running a one-shot and I found a really cool map on Reddit that I want to use. Great users is you're allowed to upload your own things. So basically what you do is you go over to the maps again, and there's a little plus icon up here. And here you can import any image you want. Owlbear Rodeo is actually really good at trying to guess where squares are. So it saves you a lot of fiddling around with lining maps up. It's not correct all the time, but if you find maps from, I think there's like subreddits like Battle Maps or D&D Maps, there's maps on D&D Beyond, there's a million places that you can find them, Patreons and so on and so forth. But if we just go import maps, and we go over to my maps folder, let's see what we've got here. Maps, and then let's just choose one of these dungeons. Go open, and it will upload it. One thing to remember is that Owlbear Rodeo is not a server. You're not uploading anything to a server. Basically what it does is it references it from your computer. So if I now went over to my laptop and loaded up Owlbear Rodeo, none of the stuff I've done on here is going to be saved on there. You'll have to make it all again. So it's not ideal for longer campaigns or prepping millions of battle maps and encounters and such. It is probably more suited for one-offs, one-shots, or mini campaigns, or even doing a campaign one little bit at a time. Okay, so we can see now that it has uploaded the crypt map here. So if we click on that and we go to edit map, we come to the screen here. Now this is where you can fiddle around with sizes and stuff like that. Maybe the map you want each square to be 10 foot. So you could change this to 40 by 40. You can change the name of it. You can change the grid type if you've got an isometric map or a hex map for maybe world travel. You can turn on and off snap to grid. you can turn on and off draw the grid. So you could just have it as a free map and people can just move their tokens where they see fit. And a couple of other options here as well. Sometimes when you're downloading maps, you might want to reduce the size of it. Some of the ones you can find online are huge, like 4K detail maps. Owlbear Rodeo probably won't upload those. And then you can allow others to edit these different things. So if you don't want anyone to move their own tokens, you can turn that off. Notes, drawings, so on and so forth. So you go save. We can look at the map here and see that the grid has pretty much aligned itself to the grid that was provided on the map, which is awesome. So go save, we go select, and voila, here we go. Here is our crypt map in Owlbear Rodeo. This is what your players will see. Whatever screen you're on, your players will see. So if we zoom in here, we can see that the grid has pretty much lined up exactly with the grid provided on this map, which is amazing. But the final thing I'll go through is Fog of War. If you're coming into this map, maybe you don't want your players to see all these rooms. So what we'll do is we'll go over to our Fog of War, and we'll do a fog rectangle, and we'll basically put fog over the whole map. And then if we go back to, so there's three options: there's polygon, rectangle, and a brush. You can toggle fog, and you can erase it. Just checking what these other ones do. I haven't played around with all the buttons yet. So fog preview, this is what your players will see. Absolutely nothing. Turn that off. Now what we want to do is we want to come in here and disable the, enable the fog cutting. Basically, if we have it disabled, it will add fog. And if we have it enabled, it will get rid of fog. So we're wanting our players to enter into this first room here. So what we're going to do is, if you want to stick to the grids, you can use the square, but I'll just show off the polygon tool. Basically, we're going to go here, here. You basically click around the areas that you want. So we'll make sure that they can't see past that door, that we can go here, we can go here, here, and then you click back on the tick, and that will reveal this area here. So if we go back to what the players see, they can only see this room here. They can move around the map and everything, but that's the only thing that they can see. And basically, if we bring in our tokens again, so we scroll back up to the top, we've got our fighter, and our wizard, and our they've now got a druid that's joined them. You will notice that we have to now rename these on each map, but, and I know I'll jump around a little bit, but if we go back to our dungeon map, everything is still saved on this map how we left it. So you can do a little bit of prep. So come into our map and we look at the fog and we look at what they see, and they can see this. We can tell them that there's a door down here by right clicking. And when they approach that, basically what will happen is the fighter might go, okay, I go up to the door and I want to open it. They do their skill checks or whatever. We can come back to our fog tool, come back to, let's go to square now, and basically we can reveal that he can see down all the way to here, and maybe off to the sides here, and off to the sides here. So we have a look at what they can see. They can now see that and act accordingly. So there you go. That's basically a quick fire version of how to run Owlbear Rodeo, and how you can put something together pretty quickly, put together a couple of maps, maybe a couple of holding, not slides, but like holding images. You could just have a Google image of a tavern from the outside. It doesn't have to be a map, just so you can show your players what they see. And the other thing you can do, just quickly as I remembered, you can upload your own tokens. So down the bottom here, there's a little plus icon, and here are all your tokens, and they're all named. Same way you uploaded maps, you can click the plus button. Wherever you store your stuff, you can go to your tokens, and then let's just bring in this token here, go open, and there he is. Go done, up the top, we can bring in this custom made token. If your players have made tokens, or you've got a specific villain or monster you want to throw in there, then there you go. There he is. Just quickly, as we end it, we've got down here, we can change our nickname. No real point in doing this unless you guys are rolling online. It'll change your name here, so that when you roll, you can see who's rolling what. That's the only thing it affects. The next one down is add party member. This will bring up your link. You can just copy the link from the URL bar. It's the same thing. And you send that to people, they jump in. If you've got a password, they can enter it that way. The third one down is you can share music. This is still in beta, so I haven't really tested it. Maybe you could just get everyone to listen to the same Spotify playlist anyway, but it's something to play around with. Go to timer. If you want to start a timer for a puzzle challenge or something, everyone can see that counting down. And lastly, you've got your settings, which are your pretty much generic ones. You can clear the cache. You can erase all your content if it's getting a bit overwhelming. But just remember that Owlbear Rodeo basically references what's on your computer. So everything I do here on my PC is locked to the PC. People can still join games and so on and so forth, but if I go onto another computer, if I go down to a friend's house or anything like that, I will have to start again, or basically take my hard drive with me. And that's it. So there you go. A quick fire grabbing the reins of how to use Owlbear Rodeo. Hopefully this will make it a little bit less daunting to put together a one-shot or a mini campaign to do together with your friends. Go on the map websites you can find a map, make a one-shot out of it. Go to the monster manual, look through, find a monster you find cool, make him a token, and make a one-shot based around the token. It's just takes that long. You can have fun with it. You can have fun with your friends. There's low barrier to entry. Hopefully it has all made sense, and you can have some fun playing D&D online with your friends. Until next time, I'll catch you later.